Welcome everybody to this virtual coffee break on day 3 of Citrix Converge 2020. I'm glad to welcome our VP, correct, David Strat, and my colleague Sunny Chen, who will be moderating with me. And we'll kick off with David. Explain, please, a little bit about what it is you do at Citrix and the products that you are responsible for that people might recognize.
Hey, thanks for the introduction, Pat. Good morning, good evening, everyone, and thanks for joining this this interactive session and coffee break. So at Citrix, I'm responsible for the workspace experience and a set of productivity services that go along with it. So what does that mean? Workspace experience is really the foundational workspace services and workspace administration capabilities that enable us to deliver a workspace in the cloud. It also includes all the native applications as well as the web experience that deliver our workspace capabilities. So for iOS, for Android, for Chrome, for Windows, for Mac, for Linux, etc. And inside of Workspace, we deliver a set of out-of-the-box capabilities. I'm responsible for the productivity services. So think about this as anything that involves content collaboration is part of my portfolio, either integrated in Workspace or as a standalone business via ShareFile. The work management capabilities that we deliver via our standalone Podio service and Write Signature services, getting integrated in Workspace as well. And then the functionality that enables us to deliver a set of focused experience via micro apps that are enabling us to unbundle monolithic enterprise applications and deliver targeted functionality for various sets of use cases. We can talk about those later. Within the workspace experience. So that basically encompasses the scope of my responsibilities at Citrix.
Wow, so very, very visible parts of the platform in terms of end users.
Yeah, right. And my focus is primarily cloud-based, right? So most of the, not most, almost all the products in my portfolio are cloud-centric.
All right.
So just to let people in the audience know, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the question box, or if you'd like to ask David a question vocally, just go ahead and raise your hand in the app and we'll unmute you, and you guys can feel free to ask what you like.
And just a note that we have a lot of Citrix customers and partners here, but this is not an NDA event. So you could assume this is public. It's like being on stage at a conference or being at the mic asking questions at a conference. So can't reveal anything confidential about roadmap. And if you're party to any of that information, please don't share it in your question, I guess. So as people kind of formulate their thoughts and get started, we've seen a lot of work around micro apps. And in particular, one theme seems to be coming through in the certainly in the hackathon submissions we've seen is the idea of integrating micro apps with different Citrix APIs. So you're surfacing CVAD and surfacing, using Podio as a system of record. Mm-hmm. And what interesting use cases have you seen there, David? Can you share anything with us?
Yeah, actually, there's a lot of opportunities when it comes to to our own product integrations within Citrix. The first set of use cases are really, if you think about integrating our virtualization functionality as a set of micros for either administrators or for end users, you're really looking at a set of self-service use cases. So it's the ability for an administrator to get notifications when a section is hanged or other things, and provide the ability for them to act on the spot. It's the ability for an end user to trigger a remote PC session, and a number of things of that nature for the CVAD piece. We also see an opportunity to integrate with our ITSM adapter. So if you think about the CVAD service, it's got an ITSM adapter, and really the ability there to integrate a set of IT self-service workflows in Workspace that will integrate with your ITSM infrastructure. So whether that be ServiceNow or other things. I'll give you an example within Citrix of what we did from an integration standpoint. I mean, at Citrix, we use ServiceNow for our own service catalog and asset catalog. And so, for example, because all our provisioning workflow on what you request access to go through ServiceNow from an enterprise standpoint, we integrated our application library, the Citrix Cloud library, with the ServiceNow catalog, so that you can have a set of self-service functionality around requesting access not only to applications but to micro apps that you want to get access to. So that's an example of self-service use cases, whether that be integrated with CVAD or with enterprise applications. With things like Podio, we actually have a lot of opportunities. One of the things that we've done over the past, I would say, 6 months is focused more on helping our customers and our partners understand very clear use cases for them to take to market. So we've invested in creating solution use cases for things like back to office, remote work, IT self-service, like I talked about, HR self-service, sales productivity. And what we find in those is the need to be able to deliver essentially out-the-box features that don't require integration. And this is where we've been able to leverage Podio actually heavily, and as part of our roadmap, we are working in integrating it much more tightly so we can have a system of record for data-driven application that is essentially built in. So some examples of use cases that we're targeting there. I mean, think about the broad array of employee engagement use cases. So number one, basic employee communication. So we created a broadcast application for that purpose, and this is the type of things that over the next several months we'll be providing essentially out of the box in the product. We have the ability to do things like employee surveys. We have the ability to do things like enabling employee recognitions via kudos and other things. So there's a broad array of use cases that, by having a default system of record coupled with tooling for IT or tooling for the business user, Podio being the business user tooling, Micro App Builder being the tooling for IT, there's a broad array of use cases that we can enable. We created an application for back to office, for example. So it's a COVID-19 self-certify application that enables an employee to self-certify that they don't have any symptoms. And then it gives them kind of like a badge that they can use to enter the office. So as we've managed our own back to office journey and the change in requirements that we had to deal with, we actually used our own capabilities and our tools to do this. I'll give you one more use case. We actually are working with our facilities team to create what we call a campus app. But that campus app is really about helping. When we get back to the office, we're going to have a much more flex approach to how desk gets allocated. Essentially, our office capacity, we have requirements that we can't fill them more than 50%, right? So in most cases, our capacity gets divided by 3. So in order to manage this, we're going to provide much more flexibility around flex office or flex desk booking. And so that's an application that we don't have today. And so creating a simple micro app that enables flex desk booking is one of the things that we're looking to do. So just some examples of the breadth of use cases that we've seen.
Okay, so I like the idea of the micro app to request micro apps, but I'm wondering how you request the micro app requesting micro app. It's the snake's kind of eating its own tail.
Yeah, you're right. Well, that's one you have to give to everybody.
It looks like we have a question from Jan Molia, and I may have answered part of this already, but if you can share, how did IWS help you in this new normal situation caused by COVID-19?
Yeah, so I already shared some of it. I mean, I think I want to be careful. I want to take a broader view, quite frankly, of our workspace helped us in the COVID-19 situation, because it's not just one feature; it's the collection of features that enables the remote productivity. We actually have been in the process at Citrix of rolling out Workspace to all our employees, and that has made a massive impact to our ability to adapt just very quickly to the situation that we just had. So access to your SaaS applications with the right governance policy, access to all your tools, where if they happen to be where you can essentially launch them from your work at home laptop or desktop. Everybody has a different situation in terms of the devices that they've used. Quite frankly, from an IT security standpoint, this COVID-19 situation for us and for a lot of our customers has kind of thrown a lot of the traditional security protocol out the window. And when you're worried about data leakage or malware on people's machines and things that you don't control, Workspace just provides a layer of protection and containerization that is really critical to adapting to this type of situation. Micro apps, so this applies to access to SaaS app, access to desktop app, even access to content, right? The ability to easily get access to your content, independent of whether it's hosted on a network drive on premises or in the cloud, are the things that we've been able to address. The use cases for micro apps, I described them. The first one that we ended up doing was really the back to office application. Because if you remember back in March, we all thought that we'd be back in the office in June. So we had to kind of come up with a solution to manage that. Some of our offices actually reopened till what we call phase 3, which is no more than 30% capacity. And then in some instances we had to pull back. So we went through a very kind of elastic in and out process. And the fact that we had the right tools and the ability for our IT organization to really quickly create new integration micro apps really hit the mark. Just to give you a sense, we have a development team for developing micro apps at Citrix. That's about 3 people. That's not a big development team. IT, right, for our internal development. So 3 developers. They created in the span of 3.5, 4 months. I said 4 months. They created 32 micro apps.
Wow.
Against 9 to 10 system of records. So that's a significant velocity for a reasonably small team to be able to streamline engagement with employees, to be able to streamline access to learning resources, employee communication. We focused on our sales organization first to drive the sales productivity higher, giving them access to specific workflows in Salesforce, and a number of other things. So just to give you an example of by being business centric and understanding a set of areas where you can improve your employee productivity, you can make an impact quite quickly.
All right. So just to anybody that joined late, we're talking with David Strat. What is your actual title, David? Because I looked in Workday, but Workday tells lies.
Workday tells lies. I'm VP of Product Management for the Workspace Experience and Services.
Okay, VP of Product Management for Workspace Experience. And the floor is open to ask questions. You can raise your hand in the GoToMeeting UI, and we can open your mic, or you can type questions into the questions panel. And it's interesting, actually, you're talking about how Workspace has been key to securely delivering apps to people now working from home, and it seems like there's a synergy there with our other technologies. So, for example, we were talking to Charla Naras yesterday about SD-WAN, and it seems like a very analogous case where SD-WAN can extend the corporate network into the employee's home, and then Workspace can extend bring those applications, and the combination really gives you like a defense in depth that the applications don't have to just you're not relying on one or the other. You're really bringing both layers of security to the user.
Well, I mean, it gives you a layer of secure application delivery that you can extend to essentially your home office. So yeah, absolutely, completely agree with your point here.
Okay.
David, is there any sneak peeks or anything we have to look forward to coming in the next year, coming out of Citrix in your office?
That you can share under NDA, under NDA rather. Let's get it the right way around here. Okay. Yeah. So assume our competitors and analysts are listening.
Yeah, it's all right. A couple of key things we're going to be doing. Number one is we're going to generalize some of our integration capabilities that today are quite coupled with the micro app service. So we can apply them to more areas than just creating micro apps. I think that's important because this enables us to have an API first access to some of this integration, and that will enable us to advance some of the use cases and some of the workflows around accessing content, interacting with meetings, unifying access to tasks, and things like that. Right? I'm not going to get into the details of what we're planning, but you can imagine that if we generalize our integration capabilities, there's a lot of opportunities by leveraging APIs that are specific to a domain, like content access, like task management, etc. There's a lot of opportunities that we can open up in terms of what we can do in Workspace. The other thing that we're going to be heavily focused on is more general kind of transitioning our customers to cloud. Right? I mean, for us, one of the things we saw with COVID is just an increased demand for flexibility and quite frankly, an acceleration of a lot of our customers' roadmap towards transitioning to the cloud. So we're very focused on enabling that seamless transition and making sure that our customers have the right level of confidence in our cloud infrastructure, and we support the functionality that they are using on-prem in our cloud services. Right, so we still have areas of gaps, and that's a priority for us to close some of those. The last point that I would say is we have an opportunity to deliver much more value by just integrating our portfolio better. And so you mentioned things like, hey, what about micro apps and CVAP? Well, that's kind of like a no-brainer, right? We have work management tools that have not been completely integrated in Workspace. So we're going to be looking to kind of leverage some of the assets that we have and provide better integration. Like, for example, we have today a fully integrated digital signature solution. If you are in a lot of businesses impacted by COVID, there is no longer an option to sign documents in person. Right. So that what we've seen is actually we've seen a significant increase in our digital solution usage, and we just need to do a better job at exposing this functionality in the context of Workspace. So those are just some examples. Additional examples that I would point is really just leveraging our Podio assets so we can truly provide a well-integrated out-of-the-box system of record that enables our customers and partners to build these templates, these apps that I mentioned earlier, without requiring a third party, right? So it's looking at how we can bring this together to help create richer type of solutions within Workspace.
All right. Yeah, and this is so. Yeah, I mean, I have a couple of follow-ups there as people kind of figure out their own questions. One is we actually used Podio and Right Signature in creating Converge. We used Podio for the call for papers. So speakers signed up through Podio. We've used it since then for managing every session. So we use the Podio API to extract that session data. So each session record has the title, speaker, description, link to the video, and so on. We actually use that with the APIs to generate those pages that you see on the web. And then we used Right Signature for the release forms for speakers participating in, giving us their video. So we've actually built Converge on most of some of the technology that you've just described right there, and it's gone very smoothly. I have to say, given that I came to Citrix Technology 4 months ago as a blank slate, it's working out very, very well indeed.
Yeah, that's called drinking from the fire hose, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's like Sunny says, "Hey, I've created this form to collect session proposals." And, okay, well, let's run with this. So yeah, and we have a note from our tireless marketing manager Tara, who is managing the very coveted Citrix Bluetooth water bottles. So these are water bottles with a Bluetooth speaker in the top. So I guess when you go for a run, you can have music as you go. Congratulations to Anthony Nguyen, Parvan Banga, and Becky Scott. So hopefully you supplied your real shipping address when you registered for Converge, so we can send them to you, and they're not going to land at Wrigley Field or the White House. Yeah. So the other point I wanted to raise is that one I've made, I think, with with Jeroen and Charlan as well, in that we're moving to a situation now where we're providing a portfolio of services, and we have deep expertise in providing these virtualized apps and desktops and networking. And there are real opportunities for partners with domain-specific knowledge, perhaps in highly regulated industries like financial services or healthcare, to take those ingredients and build something with their specific niche experience that is unique. Taking effectively our box of Lego bricks and building their space shuttle or the Formula One car as to fit their niche.
Yeah, I can really agree. I mean, I'd go one step further, which is clearly the ability to optimize the solution that they built for some specific vertical processes or vertical industries. right? So, I mean, for example, we've seen opportunities clearly in the traditional industries that we played, but we've also see opportunities in like education, right? Where you have integration with systems that like Blackboard and companies, where you have to know them, you kind of need to know the workflows. So being able to bring that expertise to create this either vertical or functional solution is a real opportunity for customers, for our partners.
And I'll take this opportunity actually to trail a session. So Nick Buffink, who is, I believe, one of our, he's a sales engineer, built a demo, and it's actually like a proof of concept for an adoption agency in the Netherlands, using it's like using a wide range of these technologies, because they, like, obviously this is like there's one national adoption agency in each country, so there's not a huge amount here, but it's a very niche use case where they have specific requirements around privacy, document retention, and so on that are solved really well with these technologies. And so, I'd encourage you to watch that video. It's called How Citrix Workspace Solutions Simplify the Adoption Process. And he's actually answering questions tomorrow on Slack at 7 a.m. Pacific. Just one of our many speakers from the Netherlands. I'm not sure what they feed people there, but they seem to grow up loving Citrix. Okay, well, I guess we've had some feedback. Kumar Satya said it's a great talk. I've certainly learnt a lot. This is just for context here. I've been at Citrix for 4 months now, and 3 of those have been devoted full time to bringing up Converge. And so this is just a great opportunity to ask questions and learn a huge amount about our technologies. So, with that, I would like to thank you, David, for answering our questions and making yourself available. And Sunny, co-presenter, co-moderator, and all of you who tuned in today. And we will be releasing the recording, right, Sunny? You're going to work your video production magic?
Yep, so look for the recording out on our Slack channels, in the emails, on our YouTube channel. We have a few more coffee breaks going out through the rest of the event, so be sure to jump in for those. And don't forget the virtual hackathon. We are still allowing prizes for that too. We're eagerly awaiting additional submissions and seeing what everyone can do with our Citrix technology.
Yep, coming up on Friday, we have Steve Wilson, coffee break at 8:30 Pacific time. And Steve's actually the executive responsible for Citrix Converge, so great opportunity to ask questions and give your feedback. So I guess it's time to wrap up, and thank you all, and we'll catch you next time.
Thank you very much. Thanks everyone. Bye bye.